This is the Cyberknife treatment room, and this is where a patient would come to have their Cyberknife treatment on a daily basis. The walls are so thick because the machine is using radiation, so to protect ourselves and members of the public from the radiation that's within the room, the walls and doors have to be as thick as they are. The Cyberknife itself is the linear accelerator, which is the business end of the machine. That's what produces radiation to be delivered. And it's basically mounted on an industrial arm used in manufacturing. It's actually the same robots that are used for car manufacturing. So when a patient arrives for the first day of treatment, they'll speak to one of our radiographers. They'll be able to talk through any concerns the patient has, briefly explain the treatment procedure and make sure they're generally the well for the treatment. And we'll then bring them into the room and we position them on the couch in exactly the same position they were when they had their planning scan. We take some measurements, make sure we're happy with everything, and then we leave the room to start the treatment. Patients can wear their own clothing. If they have anything bulky on, like a thick jumper, then we'll ask them to take it off just so it's more reproducible and it's not under the patient lifting them up. If they're having the head and neck treated, we may ask them to wear a mask that's been made previously, and this is a specific mask for that patient, and it fits them perfectly and just makes sure they're nice and still on the bed. So the Cyberknife offers a non-invasive treatment with pinpoint accuracy, and it's really this accuracy that's much improved from the previous generation machines. And because the machine moves all around the patient, delivering the radiation from a number of different beams, it's able to give a much higher dose to the tumour while sparing the tissue around that. So you can give a much higher dose with less side effects. While the treatment's actually being delivered, we're sat outside the room with an array of monitors. Obviously, we've got the CCTV cameras there, so we're watching the patient all the time. We're listening to the patient just in case they call out if they need us. But we also have all the technical screens in front of us, so we're continuously looking at the patient's movement, looking at what stage of the radiation is being delivered, where the robot is, and constantly monitoring the patient throughout the treatment to make sure that the treatment's been delivered accurately. For head and neck treatments, we're continuously taking images of the patient's skull and we're comparing this to an image we already have. This tells us how much the patient has moved, so that if the patient makes the tiniest movement, we can see this, and the robot is able to account for this and take those values into its coordinates and make sure the treatment is delivered accurately all the way through. If the patient were to move during treatment, the machine would pick that up and stop automatically. A typical head and neck treatment is usually delivered in under an hour. 30 to 40 minutes would be an average. While the patient's on the bed having the treatment, they don't see anything, they don't feel anything. The only experience they'll have is the sound of the machine moving around them. Patients can leave their eyes open if they wish, so that they can watch the machine. Some people prefer to do that, but there's no sensation to the radiation. So once the treatment's finished, the radiographers come back in the room and get the patient off the bed, and they generally have no side effects, and they're able to walk away and go home just as any other outpatient.
Typically, after patients finish their Cyberknife treatment, I would review them back in outpatients to assess how they've been after the treatment, and often they will have had a scan done 4 to 6 weeks after the treatment's finished, so that the effectiveness of the Cyberknife can be assessed. Well, the general outcomes of patients who we treated with Cyberknife radiotherapy have been very good. Most patients tolerate the treatment very well. It's a short treatment. We seem to be getting good outcomes for patients after they finish their treatment.